Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Office Bloke Sports Edition. Office Bloke Daz Sports Edition.
Yeah.
Where we're just going to do all sports, whatever you want. This is what it's about.
I want to know what this is
cheating
about.
Scandal. You might not want that on the table.
It depends.
Once you see this story.
Is it actually bad? Like, are they actually cheating?
Yeah.
What?
Someone raised it to me. I'm
Not
not
my
an Astros,
Houston.
I'm not an Astros fan. I've been to the Astros games a few times. I actually sat behind home plate when Derek Jeter did his last final season there for the New York Yankees, and I went there to see someone managed to get me tickets right behind home plate. So I had really nice tickets, really enjoyed myself, a few beers, enjoyed the game and everything. And then I heard about this story, and I picked up a Houston hat because purely it was based on the fact that I've been to the game.
Yeah.
But I'm a New York Mets fan by default.
I still need to kind of choose my team for
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
I don't have a team for that. I've got teams in other sports.
What are the teams? What are the teams you have in basketball?
In basketball, it's the Brooklyn
Nets.
Nets.
Yep.
In NFL, it's the Giants. In ice hockey, it's the Devils. And then in baseball, I don't know.
Yeah, you have to think.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't bandwagon it. Let him know what teams that they go for.
Yeah.
I think because you're a tool,
What?
because you're complete and utter arsehole, go with the Phillies. I'm kidding.
But I might just go
just
for the
jokes.
Yankees to annoy you.
Yeah, exactly.
Then we can watch the game.
Well, New York
wear
City,
different shirts.
New York City play at the Yankee Stadium, don't they? Until the.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
So
I'm
there
a
is
New
an
York City
affiliation.
fan.
There is an affiliation there. But years ago, when I lived in the USA, New York Yankees had an affiliation with Man United. That's why I didn't want to get involved with anything.
Really?
With them. Yeah, that's why I went to the Mets. Really. Yeah. Plus, they got blue hats,
Yeah,
sort
true.
of thing. So it was one of them as well. But
So does the Yankees though at times, don't they?
they have got a blue hat, yeah. But the Mets were like a royal blue, it was like a different type of blue.
Yeah.
I've got my Mets hat somewhere else. But yeah, so this is about the Houston Astros cheating. I kind of know a little bit about this, but I don't know the full story. Don't know the full story behind it. Yeah.
No,
So,
anyway,
but
I'll find
I know
out.
what they did. I know what they did.
Oh.
I know what it came about, but I don't know what happened and what the outcome was. Type
Yeah,
thing.
okay. Well, I'll find out for the Houston Astros cheating scandal explained.
On November 12, 2019, Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellick of The Athletic dropped a bomb excuse me. Can you knock it off? The Athletic dropped a bombshell that would shape the narrative of the entire Major League Baseball offseason. In their home games, the 2017 World Series champion Houston Astros had used an electronic system to steal signs from opposing catchers and communicate them to their hitters in real time. Speaking of The Athletic, here's something convenient. We're actually partnered up for this episode of Baseball Bits. You can use my link at theathletic.com/foolishbaseball for a 30-day free trial and 50% off your annual subscription.
Alright, mate.
Now, sign stealing in itself isn't against any rules. There's a reason teams use a complicated sign system.
He's got
to
nail
begin with.
polish on.
If your
See
signs
his
can be
fingers.
figured out without electronic assistance, you're at a huge disadvantage.
What?
But using technology is against the rules, and is detailed.
He's telling the pitcher.
But what could that possibly mean?
Well, he's telling the pitcher what to throw, what ball he thinks he should throw.
But how does like?
So if he does like
What
one
does
finger,
that?
yeah, he
mean
might
curveball?
That might be fastball. Yeah, that might be fastball or curveball.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that
Or
work?
1-2-1. The codes, don't they? But each code's every team has a different code. That's what they're saying.
They make the codes themselves.
Yeah, they're trying to decipher the code. I won't ruin it for you, but I know what happened there. So if you watch it, I'll explain to you. But the catcher will give a code to the pitcher to tell him what ball to throw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Without electronic assistance, you're at a huge disadvantage. But using technology is against the rules, and as detailed in the Rosenthal-Drellick article, a feed from a camera in center field fixed on the opposing catcher's signs was hooked up to a television monitor that was placed on a wall steps from the team's home dugout at Minute Maid Park. From there, Astros players and employees would decode the catcher's signs. Once they cracked the code, they used something a bit more primitive than a real-time video feed to signal the upcoming pitch to their hitters. They banged on a trash can to signal off-speed or breaking pitches. Here's an example. August 2nd, Steve Cishek pitching to Jake Marisnik. First pitch, no bang, fastball. Second pitch, bang, slider. Third pitch, no bang, fastball. Fourth pitch,
Astros had lefty off.
bang, slider. Fifth pitch, no bang, fastball. Sixth pitch,
5 RBI.
bang, slider. Seventh pitch, bang, slider. Marisnik finally pops out. You get the gist. This isn't the first instance of technology-based sign stealing. In 1876, the Hartford Dark
So
Blues...
he was kind of cheating there, and he didn't really even do anything. They surely caught that ball and he got out.
But the idea was, what he was saying was...
every time someone hit the bin...
it's going to throw a slider, which is going to be outside of the strike zone.
So don't
swing. So be a ball, don't swing, yeah. Try and swing at the fastball, see if because they're the ones they're going to get either a strike or you're going to hit it, for out the ground if you can.
Yeah.
Perched a man on a telegraph pole to alert hitters of the newly invented curveball. The 1951 Giants, managed by spymaster Leo DeRocher, used a telescope and buzzer to steal signals, and the 2017 Red Sox were fined for using smartwatches in a 3-game series against the Yankees. But the Astros system was different, because it was now plainly available for everyone to see. Or maybe I should say, available for everyone to hear. The trash can bangs were audible on broadcasts that are available on this very website. In the months since the story broke, internet detectives, regular baseball fans like you and I, have been documenting every shred of evidence possible to sink the now despised Houston Astros. And with that, this story published by 2 great baseball writers for The Athletic suddenly became a huge group project for everyone in the baseball community. Here's everything we have learned so far. Here's the timeline. Early in the 2017 season, at least 2 uniformed Astros got together to start the process. One was a hitter who was struggling at the plate and had benefited from sign stealing with the previous team, according to club sources. Another was a coach who wanted to help. When the banging started isn't 100% clear. I watched the footage from opening day against the Mariners and heard some suspicious thuds. I wasn't alone in this, yet nothing conclusive. In an article we'll talk about a little bit later, Rob Arthur of Baseball Prospectus pinpointed well-defined signals starting on May 19th against the Indians. Perhaps the system took some calibrating to get just right. As far as the setup goes, we know there was a camera installed in center field that could pick up the opposing catcher's hand signals. You feed that video to a tunnel near the dugout, and baby, you got a sign-stealing system going. So, from May 19th onward, there's consistent banging going on.
Line shot. That's a play.
In my experiences, having watched the tape, it was more noticeable later in the season.
What I don't get on that, I know it'd be suspicious if you kept hearing it every so often.
That's what I'm saying.
Right? So the batsman, the catcher or the pitcher must hear that.
I know.
And the umpire and think there's a pattern here. I mean, it's different because you know what it is. You might not suspect anything. You might just think it's someone dicking about in the stands.
Yeah.
They're in the stadium just banging on something. But
it's weird how it's always just before he pitches.
As he's ready to pitch, yeah.
And I want to know where the guy is that's actually hitting the bin.
Well, he's obviously in communication. He's probably down the steps from the dugout. So he's behind here, but they're feeding it from the dugout to the person who's doing it. Going to throw a slider, hit once. Going to throw a curveball, hit twice, whatever it may be.
Yeah, but surely like fans and stuff can see this guy hitting the bin.
Depends where it is,
especially when they're closer to it, like in the stands.
But even then, if they're home fans, they're not going to suspect much.
Yeah,
how many noises do we hear at the football games we're at? Sounds like a train's going past sometimes. There's no train station anywhere near.
No,
I have no idea what that is.
That's the people, like, the...
catering.
Where they keep all the food, like the metal...
catering. Metal trolleys, is that what it is?
Metal trolleys, yeah.
So it always confused me. I think, where's that train?
Yeah. No, because it goes right behind us.
Yeah.
Particularly in games played in August and September. We'll look at those soon, but the story doesn't just end at the conclusion of the 2017 regular season. Obviously, a lot of attention has been turned to the 2017 playoffs, where the Astros won their franchise's first ever World Series. Could you imagine if there were audible trash can banging on that stage? Well, there isn't. Yet, if the Astros believed this system was worthwhile, they could have gone for alternatives. After all, a trash can banging might not cut it in a loud playoff atmosphere. Some have theorized that whistling patterns in the crowd may play a role. Once again, we'll talk about it later. The following season, Jeff Passan, then reporting for Yahoo, wrote that the Indians, who fell victim to the Astros in the 2017 ALDS, had warned the Red Sox that Houston might try to steal signs from them in the upcoming American League Championship Series. How did they suspect this? They had a photograph of a man named Kyle McLaughlin aiming a cell phone into Cleveland's dugout during the loss that ended their season. And although McLaughlin has never been listed as an Astros employee, he does have ties to the club, as he can be seen here posing with Astros owner Jim Crane. This was the first inkling that something was fishy with the 2017 Astros, and the last paragraph of that article featured this interesting sentence. 2 Major League players said they have witnessed the Astros hitting a trash can in the dugout in recent years, and believe it is a way to relay signals to hitters. Talk about burying the lead. Fast forward to exactly 1 year later, and Andy Martino of SNY reported that the Yankees noticed a whistling sound from the Astros dugout during Game 1 of the 2019 ALCS. They believe this whistling was part of a sign-stealing system. On November 12th, a couple weeks after the Astros were defeated by the Nationals in Game 7 of the World Series, Ken Rosenthal and Evan Drellich published their landmark article, which confirmed the previously held suspicions about the Astros and sign-stealing, at least in the 2017 regular season, that is. There were a couple key figures who came forward with their experiences. The first was current A's pitcher Mike Fiers. Yeah, that's real facial hair. That's the face of the man who may have sunk the Astros. Fiers was an Astro in 2017, and he confirmed that Houston stole signs during home games in real time with the aid of a camera positioned in the outfield. The other key party in this article is an opponent, former MLB pitcher Danny Farquhar, who was pitching in relief for the White Sox at the time. There was a banging in the dugout, almost like a bat hitting the bat rack every time a changeup signal got put down, he said. After the third one, I stepped off. I was throwing some really good changeups and they were getting fouled off. After the third bang, I stepped off. 4 days later, after publishing their article, Rosenthal and Drellich followed up by sharing an August 2017 email from an Astros front office executive. In the email, the unnamed executive writes, "One thing in specific we are looking for is picking up signs coming out of the dugout. What we are looking for is how much we can see, how we would log things, if we need cameras/binoculars, etc. So go to a game, see what you can or can't do, and report back your findings." But I'd like to get back to Farquhar, because his first-hand account of the trash can banging is what caused members of the baseball community to spring into action and document the sign-stealing system with the help of MLB's broadcast footage. The Athletic certainly did some heavy lifting, but the story was in the hands of the public now, and what happened next is fascinating. The Athletic presented the Farquhar incident through the written word, but it was time for video to tell the story. Enter John Boy Media. What was the first thing you did after you read the article from the Athletic?
Kind of chuckled because the rumors had been going on for so long that someone actually officially said it, especially someone as official as Ken Rosenthal, and then took to the internet to see what people were saying, and then figured we could easily find what Farquhar was talking about. Found the footage from that specific game that he had mentioned in the article.
I found the footage. Let's watch it. Here we go. But he takes the changeup. Now, Farquhar looking good. Let's see. Fastball, no bang at all. Takes it. Call for the changeup. Bang, bang. And Farquhar steps off and says, "Can you hear it?" Like, "Hey, they got the signs. We got to change this." So he goes on. This is super upsetting.
Shortly after the news broke, John Boy scrambled to create this video in less than 30 minutes. He titled it, "Astros Using Cameras to Steal Signs, a Breakdown." It currently has 2.2 million hits on YouTube and 4.1 million on Twitter. And there it was, the cheating system put on full display. Major League Baseball does a weird thing on YouTube, and that weird thing was unknown to many until this story broke. Since 2009, every single MLB.TV game can be found on YouTube. That, of course, includes every Astros home game in its entirety. It's all out there. When you uploaded this breakdown in particular, did you know you had like another big viral video, or is it kind of harder to predict what's going to pop off and what won't?
I knew it would be interesting. I didn't know it was going to be as big as it was. Now that I look back at it, I'm like, of course it was. But I thought it was going to be similar to the Glass Now one that I had posted about him tipping pitches in the playoffs, where it was super interesting and detailed. So I didn't realize it was going to have more legs than maybe the article itself did, because I was just supporting the article.
The Athletic toppled the first domino, John Boy the second, and the race to find other instances of trash can banging was on. Suddenly, 2017 Astros home games began appearing in everyone's YouTube recommended box. You can click on any random game and see dozens and dozens of comments with timestamps for every thud. The day after the story broke, a giant mega post on the baseball subreddit cropped up, making note of suspicious activity throughout both the 2017 regular season and playoffs. Other YouTubers got in on the action as well, with a couple long compilations of the sign stealing garnering around 1 million combined views. It was as if the internet was conducting its own investigation alongside Major League Baseball. John Boy also returned to Twitter to post a clip from a 2017 Astros documentary showing the alleged setup near the dugout. At this point, much of the trash can banging had been documented, but I couldn't help but wonder if I too could play the role of internet detective. I hopped into Baseball Savant and looked for Astros home runs in home games late in the season. One of the results was a curveball hit by George Springer off Chris Flexen of the Mets. I found the game in question, skipped ahead to the pitch in question, and saw this. Wow, that's really bad. That's hard to watch. After the trash can system had been confirmed, plenty of attention was turned to the 2017 playoffs. So let's talk about some things that we don't know. We don't have complete evidence of alternative systems used by the Astros to relay signs to their hitters, particularly in the 2017 playoffs. John Boy shared some work done by someone named Rafael Garcia, who isolated higher frequencies in audio from the 2017 World Series.
I just don't understand how they thought like they could actually get away with that and no one would notice.
I know, you're right. And it kind of does, it taints the championship, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Big time. Haven't they won it since, though? Didn't they win it a couple of years ago in 2021 or something?
That was 2017, the last one, didn't they? I think they did win it a couple of years ago, didn't they?
I thought so.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they did. But again, it's one of them where it's... he's saying it's never been proven, though, right? That's what he just said. There's no evidence of...
there's no evidence of alternative ways.
Alternative ways.
The trash can thing's obviously true.
It's definitely... It's clear to see as day, isn't it?
Yeah. That's crazy, though.
Well worked out by John Boy.
Higher frequencies like someone whistling in the crowd. The video suggested that different types of whistles from the crowd corresponded with different pitch types from the Dodgers. Yet, in the interest of fairness, this whistling analysis remains just a theory. In fact, a YouTuber named Tony Adams, who does admit to being an Astros fan, ran his own analysis of the charge whistle in Game 5 and found basically zero correlation between the whistle and the action on the field. By the way, you can find links to everyone's work in the video's description. Meanwhile, MLB infielder Trevor Plouffe hopped on Twitter to tell the world that the Astros relayed pitch calls to a bullpen catcher who did hand signs to communicate to whoever was standing in the batter's box. You had a chance to talk with Trevor Plouffe on your podcast, Talkin' Baseball. Will you, right now, vouch for Trevor Plouffe's character? Can we as a nation trust Trevor Plouffe?
Trevor Plouffe for president.
Okay.
Plouffe's a great guy. He's actually joined the John Boy Media team a little bit. We plan on doing a lot of things with him in the future, and he was a joy and a blast to chop it up with.
On top of all this, Joel Sherman of the New York Post reported that some MLB scouts and executives believed the Astros communicated signs via a realistic-looking electronic bandage that buzzed to indicate pitch types. Buzzing bandages! Another thing we're not sure about, whether this cheating system continued into 2018 or 2019, or whether it was deployed at any time before 2017. We also don't know if there was a sign stealing system used in road games. And finally, the last thing we don't know is probably the most important. We don't know the identities of the uniformed Astros that devised the system. We don't know if every player was involved, and we don't know which coaches, front office executives, or even owners knew of these activities. So, as of right now, we know a lot, but there's still plenty to be uncovered. There's another important question, one that can be answered with some good old-fashioned baseball analysis, and the results are pretty shocking. If the Astros hitters knew the type of pitch that was coming in home games, how much did that information actually help them? So, it's simple. We just compare the strikeout rate of the 2016 Astros to the 2017 Astros in Minute Maid Park, right? In 2017, they were the team that struck out the least at home. The previous season, they struck out the third most among all home teams in baseball. A huge reversal. That has to be it, right? Knowing the pitch that's coming leads to way fewer strikeouts, and thus a huge advantage. I, personally, really disagree with this type of analysis. For one, the 2016 Astros were just different. Alex Bregman and Yuli Gurriel only played in the majors for a small portion of 2016, but were huge contributors the following season. 2016 Colby Rasmus was also upgraded to 2017 Josh Reddick, and Marwin Gonzalez, who had been a meh hitter up to that point, went absolutely ballistic that season. the Astros were a far more potent offense in 2017. That's for certain, but that doesn't prove that sign stealing was the only reason why they succeeded. The logical thing would be to compare the 2017 Astros home games to road games. After all, we're certain that this system was in work at home, but haven't really come across definitive proof of cheating in away games. Here's the 2017 Astros at home again. Those numbers are fantastic. Surely they weren't that good on the road. And yet, they actually were. In fact, they scored more runs on the road than they did at home that season. A huge narrative of their 2017 season was just how good they were away from Minute Maid Park. These aren't the results one would expect from a team that allegedly knew what pitches were coming in home games. There has to be something here. I asked myself what situations would be most beneficial for Astros hitters to know the upcoming pitch, and landed on curveballs, changeups, and sliders below the zone with 2 strikes. I did find a difference in swing and miss rate, but not a huge one. Rob Arthur of Baseball Prospectus did some really important research on the 2017 Astros. By analyzing audio signatures from the broadcasts, he determined that the system was fully deployed somewhere around May 19th and observed a lowered swing rate on pitches outside of the strike zone from that date onward. Still, one would expect the differences between knowing what pitch was coming and not knowing to be profound.
That one is launched down the left field line, and it is gone.
Shouldn't knowing what's coming lead to a bigger advantage? Maybe not. Many Hall of Famers like Joe DiMaggio, Hank Aaron, and Tony Gwynn have insisted that they never wanted anyone to tell them the sign. Granted, these were great hitters no matter what, but it speaks to the nature of being a hitter in Major League Baseball. If you play at that level today, you can already catch up to 100-mile-per-hour fastballs and fight off 80-mile-per-hour curveballs. You've played this game without knowing what's coming for your entire life, and now you have to concentrate on trash can banging when you're just trying to do your job? Then, another advantage of the sign-stealing system popped into my head. Stealing bases.
There goes Altuve, pitches low, the throw is not in time. Stolen base.
If you know a slower breaking pitch is coming, that can be a big help when base stealing. And the Astros' base stealing record at home was clearly better than it was on the road, and that's definitely worth mentioning. So, we think this sign stealing system helped. Obviously the Astros did, otherwise they wouldn't have done it. But the regular season results aren't as tremendous as one would think. Some have also pointed to much more exaggerated splits between home and road games in the playoffs that year. But then you get into the dangers of small sample size. Inconclusive. One reason for this may be that trash can banging appears to have been deployed in moderation. Throughout the broadcasts, one can hear it at a higher frequency later in games, against relief pitchers, and in higher leverage situations. But even then, the 2017 Astros weren't out of the ordinary in high leverage to begin with. So, with all this in mind, what does a punishment for the Astros look like? It depends on a few factors. We've been interviewing for a couple minutes now. In this short time frame, do you think you've received an angry comment or message from an Astros fan?
Probably somewhere. I have maybe all of them muted at this point, I hope.
After this scandal broke, Major League Baseball immediately launched an investigation into the...
Just a quick one, do you reckon, Astros fans, if there are any, let me know, agree with this?
There will be.
They'll disagree with it.
It's hard to disagree with, isn't it? I'm watching this as a neutral, and then banging on that the trash can is definitely
a bit dodgy.
It's cheating. Now, like you said, it might have got louder as the game progressed, where you had relief pitchers coming in who were not as good as a starting pitcher, sort of thing. But then if they're banging it louder, they know what ball's coming. That's when the game's won over 9 innings. It's not won over the first 2 innings. I mean, you got to play to the end. But I don't know. It's let us know if you think. Look, we'll talk about it at the end. Let's see what the punishment is first.
Astros sign-stealing activity. The impending punishment could depend on whether the Astros were exceptional in their sign-stealing. If electronic sign-stealing has permeated the league as a whole, it becomes much more difficult to make an example of the Astros. Major League Baseball can also choose to punish from an individual as well as an organizational standpoint. Individual punishments could be suspensions or bans for perpetrators, ranging from the uniformed Astros who devised the scheme itself to players who knowingly participated. But that requires knowing exactly who was involved. And can you really suspend an entire baseball team if everyone was in on it? Before you go, I wanted to ask you about Carlos Beltran and Alex Cora. I think you and I maybe both suspect that the struggling hitter mentioned in the Athletic article could have been Beltran. So do you think either of them could be in the crosshairs for the impending Astros punishment?
I think that's where it gets really tricky. Because if Beltran was doing it as a player, then they would have to punish every player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if Beltran gets punished, then I also think that means Altuve and Bregman and Springer also receive the same punishment because they all did it as players, and I don't think that's going to happen.
Organizationally, this could mean forfeiting the 2017 World Series itself, but that would, of course, require proving shenanigans in the postseason as well. It also doesn't really fix the problem. You can remove the banner, but the memories remain. Plus, vacating the title from the Astros won't make the Dodgers feel any better. One of the most likely facets of the punishment is loss of draft picks and/or international free agent bonus pool money. The intention would be to handicap the Astros' potential to acquire young, minor league talent. It's not a bad idea, but my main criticism would be that it doesn't immediately threaten the Astros at the major league level, which is where all the cheating took place to begin with. I, personally, think we could see some big Astros coaches and executives taking the fall for this one.
What do you think? Do you think the punishments are going to be harsh?
Yeah, I think that's sort of the big question is how exceptional was this cheating? You know, if it is proven that the Astros, you know, were unique in this, I honestly think like someone like AJ Hinch could face like a permanent lifetime ban from baseball, which sounds crazy, but that's a punishment that they've done before. You know, it's not like wouldn't be like the first time this has happened. John Coppolello, the Braves GM, got banned from baseball 2 years ago, you know.
I agree. I don't think it's as crazy as it sounds off the cuff.
This MLB investigation will likely go deep into winter and possibly beyond that. So that's all we can say about the Astros cheating scandal for now. This crazy offseason story started as a bombshell article, then was passed on to the public, and now rests in the hands of Major League Baseball. All we can do is hope that they make a fair and informed decision. But I also want to know, what do you all think would be an appropriate punishment for the Astros? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching. This episode...
Interesting video, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. It's just...
I knew what had happened, but I didn't know what the outcome was, and I guess there's no outcome, or I guess it's... How old's that video?
It would be a few years ago. It was 2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, but it's one of them where you have to let us know what we can research the outcome of what it was. I thought we were going to get the outcome there.
Or let us know the outcome.
Yeah, but it's... and with the cheating, I think it's blatant. That banging on the bin.
What would your punishment be for them? Just take the series, take the World Series away.
You've got to take the World Series off them. It's hard to ban the whole team, like he was saying there, because you're taking that away from also the next generation as well. So I think that the Houston Astros will forever be known as cheating if that's the case.
True.
I don't know. It's like just.
But they've won it. They've won it recently, though, haven't they? And that was without cheating. But at the same time, the 2017 one though. But didn't they play the actual final without cheating?
That's what they were saying. There's no evidence of it in the
series. There was no
World Series.
There was no banging in the final.
It's just that if you've done it once to get there, then you stand a better chance of winning it if you're there. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's
a bit of a weird one, that, isn't it?
If they get, I think the punishment should be we remove the hat from the table. Right? I think that's fair enough punishment, right?
That seems fair.
Let us know if the hat should stay or if the hat should go.
I bet the Houston Astros
have they redeemed themselves.
Crying now.
Have they redeemed themselves for the hat to return? Let us know in the comments.
Yeah.
Let us know the outcome. Let us know your thoughts on it as well. There's some both there from John Boy and from the other guy. But it's interesting to know that because, like I said, I didn't know what the outcome was. Still don't. But
let us know.
Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Anyway, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.